Hi gang, Tom here again, back for the second part of my anatomy of a sketch card. If you remember in the first one, I laid out the face on this card, and I was going to do this as a three-part series, doing inking and coloring. Unfortunately, I've got to have this stuff in and to Dynamite, and I'm working on a deadline, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do inking and coloring on this video. And now I'm going to flip the card over and show you. There we are. There's a penciled version of it. There is some ink on it. Unfortunately, I was doing this video, and unfortunately my dog Quint saw one of my neighbors and started barking so loud that I could not talk over him and continue to do the video. So I had to delete it. That's why you see that there's some inking done on here. That being said, what do I use for inking? My favorite tool is this Kuretake brush pen. I learned of it a few years ago when I was trying to figure out how to get away from, doing the traditional inking of crow quill and using a Sable Series number 7 Winsor Newton brush. So I ended up researching, and I tried the Pentel Pocket brush pen, which I thought was okay, and then I stumbled upon this, and I really liked it. And with this, with trial and error, I found out that, unfortunately, when I was doing a commission for somebody, that the ink, while archival in the cartridge that they give you, which is, this is cartridge. When you buy this, you get 3 of these. The ink, while archival, ends up being, it'll dry, but it ends up being reactivated from the alcohol with the markers, and sometimes it ends up smearing the face or the figure or the background or whatever you're doing. And I found that out the hard way, so I had to redo a piece that I was working on. But these are good. I mean, I use these when I'm sketching in my sketchbooks, and I've got multiples of these, and some of them have these in them. But if I'm doing a job, say a job like this, what I've done is I end up buying an ink converter, and that's what it looks like. And I put that on there and fill it with super black Speedball ink. This is what I use, and it works really well, and I really like it, and I get good quality lines from it, and it gives me a nice dark black that doesn't fade, I want to say. Well, because it's ink, of course. But like sometimes, like I've used Higgins Black Magic or other inks, and it just seems like you'll do like heavy lines of, like, say, the black hair or something, and it dries and it just seems to fade. I don't know, but that, anyways. So beyond that, I also use these Pigma Micron pens for doing little details and stuff like that. I also use these Bimoji brush pens, which are made by Kuretake. They are very nice, and they have different brush tips. Some come with some come with a point, like that, and can help you do fine detail. Others come with a brush tip like that, and let me move this over. A brush tip like this, and it gives you good quality lines, blacks, and it's very archival in itself too also. And I also use the Copic multi-liner pens, these pens. There's my pack. I use these pens also when I'm doing some detail, or if I have to do straight lines, if I'm doing a little bit of a background, or if I've got a design and I've done a design on that, I use these, and I like the way they work. Give good quality line. So anyways, let's begin. Let's keep going. I started already. I'm gonna continue on. Let's see if I can get this straight. So there's and as you can see, I turned that face into a horrible looking zombie because that's what it called for. And now I am trying to get it done so I can ship it out to the publisher. And what I do a lot of times is I'll outline and then go back in using the Micron or the Copic multi-liner. I outline first, and this gives you nice thick and thin lines. I'll show you when I do the hair. About the thick and thin lines. If you can see as I'm drawing too, I'm getting a nice thin line with the pen. And with these pens, they're relatively inexpensive. I want to say anywhere between $16 or $18 a piece. And if you keep them in good condition, they last quite a while. Mine, usually before the tip, which I believe is a nylon tip, a nylon bristle tip, I keep it pretty clean. It'll usually, I've had one last me about a year and a half before I had to replace it. And what I end up doing is replacing the entire pen because replacing just the tips is as expensive as replacing the entire thing. So just replace the entire thing. They tend to get funky sometimes. So I end up replacing the whole thing. So here we go. So as we're continuing on, like I said, I'm just using this to fill out my form. Oh, a skull. Duh. Sometimes I forget to do certain areas, and I end up going back like, oh, silly boy, you forgot to do your piece that you put in. I'm just trying to adjust it, so hopefully you'll see it. Make this eyebrow a little bit thicker. And it's not supposed to be perfect. It's not, because it's a zombie. So get out the old trusty Micron pen, and we'll go to work doing doing some minute line work. And as you see, it gives you a nice clean line for what you need it to do. This is a number 1. And if you apply a little more pressure, you're able to get a little bit thicker line. I'm kind of looking for that to a certain extent. And you can also like go over it again to get that thicker quality line. Sometimes I trade off and go to a 3 or a 5. But for this, I'm just going to use this because, like I said, I need to get it done. And I'm just making what I call distressed marks on the skull to make it look as if she's been weather beaten and aged. And that gives the illusion of, say, dirt. And things that have happened to the body as decay is set in and the rot of the body. So that, we're getting there. Let's put a couple of marks in here. Almost like cracks in the sidewalk. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Almost like cracks in the sidewalk. And this is how you end up going and making something that looked like a good drawing into something monstrous. All right, so I'm done with that. I'm going to put my pen away, pick up my brush pen again, and we'll get to doing the hair. And like I said, I like this because it gives me thin and thicker lines and very versatile, I feel. And, you know, it's also personal preference with what you're doing. Like I said, you know, a buddy of mine, Stephen Butler, he swears by the Pentel pocket brush pen, and he's used other things too, but he swears by it. And I'm sorry, I'm moving it out of your view. And I just found I didn't like the brush tip itself. I didn't. So that's why I went and tried a couple of different ones, and the Kuretake came out to be a winner for me. And as you can see, I'm getting some nice thin lines with the distressed hair that I'm trying to do. And they say, and it's true, you know, it's me, you know, I'm lightening my touch, so to speak, and that's how I'm getting a thinner line. I'm usually heavy-handed, but you know, I also believe, you know, besides the artist that's using the tool, it's the tool, and sometimes you know, manufacturers, they make things, and you know, I mean, you know, they could say, oh, well, I've made the best product. And then sometimes it just, what happens is you get a bad batch. Nothing's really ever perfect. You try and do what you can with what you got. And, you know, move along and, you know, make it work. And if not, find something that you can that will work for you. All right. So, gotta stop saying That's one of the critiques I got from my daughter. Stop saying all the time. Well, I'm trying. I'm really trying. But anyways, like I said, as you can see, I'm getting some really nice thin lines with that, and then the strokes, there's some dry brush effects in there, and you can get thicker lines. And I'm trying not to be perfect about it because it's a zombie, so we're trying to make it as inhuman and ugly as possible. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And as you can see, doesn't smear. Pretty much we're good to go. So I'm going to erase it and then fill in the blacks and let that dry for about 30 seconds. And then we'll get into the coloring stage. I'm using a kneaded eraser. Gotta pull it apart. Just make sure all the pencil marks gone, and then sometimes I will check and then I have a pencil that's got one of those white erasers on it, and that helps too, because sometimes like I said, I'm heavy-handed, and sometimes the mark I made just a little too dark. So now, as I've cleaned it up and it's ready for some blacks, I've noticed that, you know, I want to add some lines, so I'm going to do it with my Micron and pull the Micron out again, and I'm going to go in here, add some lines, make that a little sharper, that a little sharper, these a little bit heavier. Put some stressed area marks there. A couple of little dots there. Make that distressed even more. Any place else, maybe over here, we can do something to give it that aged look. And I think that's good. I think we're ready to go. So, back to Kuretake pen, fill in my blacks. Make this eye, do this eye a little bit more. Oops, okay. Fill in this side of the mouth. Go. And with this too, you don't have to fill it in completely black. You can leave some holes, what they're called air holes, because what will happen is when they print it, and also when you color it, the color fills in those air holes, so you don't see it. Now, if I was leaving it in black and white, I would probably, you know, color in those little air holes just to make sure that they are solid and they're not a distraction. So, and there we have it. There's that. So, I'm going a little bit long on this, and I'm trying to do it as quickly as possible, but I need that to dry. Oh, I forgot one spot. So I'm going to use my Memoji just to show you that, and see how that gives you almost the same consistency, but it dries, you know, almost like a marker. So okay, we're done that. Now, what I like to use for my markers, and I'll just pull one out. It's not the one I'm going to use, but, well, yeah, I am. I use Dick Blick Studio markers. I like them. Their brightness and their quality, to me, is as good as the Prismacolor markers, which I have a set of and I use. And I like them better than the Copic marker. And the good thing about these is that they're less expensive than those two. And it's not that I don't want to no disrespect intended, but you know, just because it's a $15 marker doesn't make it actually any better than, you know, a $4 marker. You know, it all. I think it all has to do with the brightness and the clarity. So, anyways, let's get going. Her hair. Oh, I also use a tester sheet. Basically, like sometimes I'm testing out colors. I want to know what they look like, so I use a tester sheet. I also use it so I can go color outside the lines, kind of, sort of, and it doesn't hurt what I'm doing. So yeah, Prismacolor. I have some of them. I do have Copics, but the Copics I've bought are usually the flesh tone ones because they seem to be very good and very true. But like I said, I use the Blick Studio markers all the time. They're my go-to marker, and I think, like I said, I like the quality, as you can see, quality of their color, and they're very versatile, and they do offer a lot of colors. And there we go. So I'm going to use, right now I'm going to use a generic marker to make the skin on her aged make it look very, very ugly, because that's what zombies usually are. And the thing about all the markers, you know, they don't bleed too much. You know, I mean, sometimes you can't help it. It's unavoidable. But a lot of times it can't be helped. So, unfortunately, you just have to be careful. All right, so I'm using light periwinkle because I'm adding shadow into the eye. And over on this side, this eye, it's out of the socket. And this is a distressed white collar, so I use periwinkle to give it kind of a highlighted color. And so there's that. That takes care of that. We know the ring around her, part of her tunic, is yellow, so don't mind me. The clacking you hear is me looking for my markers. And here we go. Yes, I'm picking up some of the ink a little bit, and it's dirtying up the yellow, which is fine by me, because it's what I want to do. I want to try and make this ugly. All right, so I am going to use a warm color gray. I believe I'm going to use a 30% gray. A warm gray, 30%. Warm gray, 30%. Yeah, and that's going to give me a little definition. What I want for my skull. It's going to bring out I want to do the lips. So the lips kind of look distressed, and then shadow underneath, shadow, and there we have, we're getting there. Almost looks like a zombie you may see on The Walking Dead. Maybe. I'm going to move the tester sheet because I think it's a little distracting. Sorry about that. And I'm just trying to give it a little dimension with the warm color, with the warm gray. Like Bob Ross would say, not a lot of happy colors. Because it is a zombie. So. And I think that's got that. And one more color. I think I'm going to use a yellow ochre for the background. Flip over my tester sheet, and there we go. And sometimes I do it twice because it gives it a darker color. I think it's a little too close to the so I'm trying to muddy it up a bit. I think it's a little too close. I mean, I feel it's a little too close to the skin. The skin color that I picked. Let's see. Let me try my saffron colored marker. Maybe that can help. Yeah, it's a little better. It helps out. And there we go. Yeah. But as you can see, all things not being perfect, there's a little smearing going on here and over here. But it's okay. It's supposed to be a zombie and messed up. And the one way I usually, if it bugs me too much, I just pull out my trusty Bimoji and go back over some of the lines. So it's not as prevalent. And it just looks like part of the drawing. And sometimes you need to touch it up because some of the lines have faded out. And I'm going to say, there we have it. There we have it. Oh, the green. The green shows up because, dummy me, I'm using a yellow marker and it's hitting the blue, and the blue is yellow and blue make green. So, anywho, there we have it. I'm sorry I was long-winded, or if I seem to have stopped speaking, because I'm concentrating. I don't mean to leave you out. I'm trying to get better at this. But there we have it. Anatomy of a Sketch Card, Part 2. The inks and the colors. I hope you like it. Please hit the like and subscribe button at the end of this video. And I will be posting more. I have ideas for other things. I will be posting more. And I would like you to come back and see what's going on, see what's happening. Starting to sound like a radio DJ, right? Anyways, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. And until then, to be continued.